BFTB, best fight the best. So I seen the video finally because I didn't pay no attention to it. So I seen the video with Mr. Irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? A Juicy J. I seen the video with him on ESPN's First Take, and I just want to break this down because too many times we allow things that someone says and things that someone shows themselves as. We allow that to just later on and down the line we just say, oh no, that didn't matter. That didn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter now. What mattered was what was back. What matters is what's now. It didn't matter back then. You know, back none of that mattered. It just matters now. But back then everything mattered. But now it's totally different. The inconsistencies when it comes to this guy is insane.
You heard Deontay Wilder sit right there and say, I want Anthony Joshua. The question is, does he really want me? Do you really want Deontay Wilder?
I think it's simple. When I've listened to what he's been saying, that there does need to be one champion and one face. And we've both got an opportunity where I have no mandatories, he has no obligations. I'm more than willing to fight Deontay Wilder April 13th in my backyard this time in Wembley Arena, you know, in front of 100,000 audience. So I'm very keen to make that fight, but no fantasy contracts, just reality. You know, bringing our worth to the table and bargaining and negotiating what we're worth and making this fight happen.
I'll take 50-50. Give me $50 million up front, and I'll take that fight tomorrow. But they're not making no offers like that, but they're talking about it.
Yo, I'm about to catch this plane in a few minutes, but Anthony, get up with your man Eddie and Barry Hearn and tell them to check their email. I got something special for you. And by the way, all the money's in the bag. So I expect you'll be a man of your word.
Any update with Wilder?
Yeah, I think the fight's going to happen for sure.
Yeah? Confident?
Yeah, very confident.
50 mil, baby?
Yeah. But I ain't selling my soul for 50 mil.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's where I'm coming from.
We'll keep us updated on what's going on.
Yeah. Have you heard anything from Wilder?
Well, only what Eddie's saying every day. That's, you know.
What from their side?
Literally everything we hear is about what's going on is from what Eddie Hearn's saying. So, but you're confident that'll be your next fight, or?
Can you promise the fans and the media that you're going to do your absolute best to make the fight between Wilder and Joshua next?
Yeah, I'll be more honest than that. I will do my absolute best to work in the best interests of my clients. Ultimately, my client, Anthony Joshua, is the complete boss of this operation. Okay? He doesn't work for me. I work for Anthony Joshua, and it's always been that way.
He got the signed contract with only your signature. He said it's a worse contract. I think Steven Espinoza said he saw the contract. Frank Warren said he saw. Like, everybody has seen the contract.
So, firstly, Joshua doesn't sign contracts. I own Joshua's promotional rights. So he has never, like, unless it's a addendum to a pay-per-view contract, where like, that contract has never had Anthony Joshua. It's had Matchroom Sport. So I have signed the contract on behalf of my client, which is how it works. And Shelley knows that, by the way. But it's just because Anthony came out and said, well, I've signed the contract. Right. Shelley's like, oh, I'm going to pick up on that. It's like, fucking hell. It's like...
To be fair, in your defense, I will say that I've seen other, like you said, that's how it works. I mean, most fighters, they don't actually sign a contract until, like, the week of the fight. Sometimes the day of the fight.
That's about agreement.
Right.
Yeah. The POS... That contract is signed by the promotional company. So we've signed it. The contract is exactly the same as the first one we sent. The only changes are in relation to the timings of the Povetkin bout and stuff like that. And they wanted this rematch thing. We gave them the rematch clause, right? The points of the rematch clause. They wrote back and said, we accept these points, right? So when we put it in the contract, they went, oh, hang on a minute, we want a rematch as well. I said, yeah, but you've just accepted that. It says quite clearly, Anthony Joshua gets a rematch, and then they wanted one for a draw and stuff like that. So it was like, anyway, we've signed that contract. That contract is live, until we put a deadline of, I think it was 22nd of September, which was like the week before the Povetkin. No, sorry, 15th of September, which is about the week before the Povetkin fight.
So how I see it is that we can go tit for tat and say, he said, she said, he said, she said. I think in the reality and the scheme of things, it's a fight that we have to have. We're both in the same generation, the same era, we're both heavyweight champions of the world. So with that being said, as I said, like, there's no fantasy contracts. It's a situation where it's reality. Like, I don't like coming to a stage in my career when I'm just talking about what I'm worth and negotiations and what we're bringing to the table. It's a fight that has to happen. As I said, I'm holding 4 of the major world title belts and Wilder holds 1. So in that sense, I feel he should come to my backyard and fight me. When
and you're the bigger economic engine. When people talk about Canelo's the biggest engine in the sport. In fact, you are the #1 star in worldwide boxing. Canelo is 2, close, but you're #1 right now in the absence of Floyd Mayweather. When you knocked out Vladimir Klitschko, Tyson Fury had already beaten Klitschko. Then he had drug problems, ballooned in weight, basically was out of boxing. And he didn't like beat Klitschko so convincingly like he's the next great thing. You had one of the all-time great heavyweight fights with Klitschko, got off the deck and stopped him to essentially win the world title in everyone's imagination. That's the heavyweight champ. You were here. Everyone else was here. But since then, the feeling has been Joshua makes all this money fighting anyway, 30 million pounds, whatever it is. Why should he take 40 or 50 to fight Wilder when he's making against anybody? He can make 30, 40 million pounds, whatever it is. Meantime, Deontay went out and fought Luis Ortiz. No one wants to fight that southpaw with the punching power. Great fight, wins by knockout. Fought Tyson Fury. They both showed special stuff, the kind of stuff that you showed when you beat Klitschko. And now all of a sudden, it's like almost like Deontay has risen in terms of the moral standing of it all. And now all of a sudden, you're not the heavyweight champ. There's a question. You're a heavyweight champ. How do you respond to that?
#1, I feel like if you have to draw to be classed a heavyweight champion of the world, that's not where I'm going for. I'm knocking people out straight up, through and through. Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder drew. Let's not beat around the bush, and that's not how I want to retain my titles. And it's good because there's enough people in the playing field to be named great heavyweights in this era, which is good. And with that being said, as I said, when you look at my legacy that I'm trying to create, 5 years in, I've been professional 5 years. I've had 7 world title defenses. I was a world champion by the time in my 16th fight. Then you've got these guys I'm dealing with that have been professional 10 years. So when you're talking about who's who and what we've achieved, when you compare, and that's what I'm saying, I already talk from a place of stats and facts. I know I'm the one. And I know I'm going to be here long when them guys are gone. So let them carry on. And it's not about right now. It wasn't about my fight with Vladimir. And it shouldn't be about their fight with Fury and Wilder. It's about what happens in the long term. And that's why from my 16th fight, I threw myself in the deep end to make sure I cement my legacy for the long term. I think the bigger fight, it's not so much the bigger fight that I'm interested in, it's the champion that I'm interested in. So I want the WBC belt strapped around my waist. And then with that being said, I think it was a great fight and a close fight. But as you know me, what I stand for is if you come to someone's backyard or you're fighting a champion, you have to knock them out. So I feel Tyson could have gone in there and knocked out Deontay Wilder. And then it wouldn't have been a situation when you leave it to the judges. And that's how I operate in my business. I don't go in there leaving it down to the judges.
Without being insanely competitive. And you know there are lots of people now who believe Deontay Wilder would beat you. They didn't used to be there. Now they're thinking they are. And Deontay Wilder's running around here saying, he won't fight me. And in a sense, you're right, it's a business negotiation, but you know he wants that fight right now. That doesn't bother you?
But my situation is that he's saying that I won't fight him. As I said, I'm willing to fight Deontay Wilder April 13th in London. So I don't know what more I have to do to get that message across. He's more interested in fighting Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury holds no world titles.
So I will do my utmost to deliver what Anthony Joshua wants me to deliver, which is the best deal for him, the right deal for his career, and the Deontay Wilder fight, which is what he wants.
What did Anthony Joshua say about the $50 million offer?
He said, is it real? I said, possibly. He said, what do you want to do? I said, I think we should get a contract. He said, okay. I said, I'm going to try and meet him tomorrow to discuss it more. He said, okay. Then he read the stuff and he said, I said, they won't meet me. He said, why not? I said, because they want you to accept the deal first. He said, well, you've got to talk about the deal. I don't, you know, I've already said before, I don't know what more I have to say then. We are interested. If you want the fight, that should make you jump. Like, if I wanted this fight, like I said, after them offered them 12.5 million, if they said to me, we're interested, mate, I would have been able to lift tables up sitting down. I would have been that fucking hard, right? So I would have been like, sorry, I would have been like, seriously, I would have been on a plane. I would have been there. They would have had a contract that night. If they wanted the money, it would have been sent that day into escrow. That's what I don't understand. And it's really bemusing when people go, well, why don't you just say yeah? Because it don't work like that. We don't want to say yeah. Then they send for a contract and it's bullshit and we can't sign it and say, oh, they've gone back on their word. They accepted the fight and now they won't take it.
Well, I think people were just saying that, why don't you verbally agree and then...
Because a verbal declaration can be binding in New York. You've got to be very careful. We can't agree a fight until we know the terms.
Listen, this dude, AJ, came to the U.S. for relevance and relevance only. If it wasn't about relevance, he wouldn't have even came here. He'd still be in the UK asleep. You know what I'm saying? This has nothing to do with nothing but him being left out, plain and simple. BFTB, shout out to the LDBC. Like and subscribe to the LDBC channels. If you don't know any, find one, sub to it, and I'm out.